Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have David Kryszczak, the president of Spartan Digital Solutions. David brings a wealth of expertise in digital marketing, leading a South Jersey-based agency that's been transforming businesses since its founding around 2016 to 2018. With a passionate team and a focus on SEO, web design, and social media marketing, Spartan Digital generates 35 to 40% of new monthly business for clients. David also is recognized as a leader with awards like the 2022 GWCC Marquee Award and active roles in community organizations like the Union League of Philadelphia. We'll be exploring his founding story, how Spartan Digital empowers clients, and his vision for scaling this growth-driven venture. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. David, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks, Jay. Really appreciate you having me, sir.
Absolutely. So we'd really love to start at the top for our listeners, if we can here, David. Can you take us back to the beginning and talk to us about what specific problem in the digital marketing landscape really inspired you to start Spartan Digital Solutions?
Yeah, it's a really good story. We're both young guys, so like when you first want to get into business, probably wanted to do something else first, right? So I wanted to go into law enforcement or IT, but the basis of that is I've always been a nerd at heart.
Yeah.
So as a kid in high school, was always around the neighborhood fixing phone screens and old ladies' computers and helping them out around the neighborhood. Good extra money their parents paid, and it was a nice little business. One day, I got a phone call literally from a friend of mine whose dad has a small plumbing business. And one of those plumbers, just an ass crack hanging out kind of guy, very quick, I need it right now. Give me the answer. I'm not waiting.
Yep.
Will, he calls me. He says, hey, I need a website. How much? How long? When can it be done? I'm like, whew. Not expecting that at 15 or 16 years old. So the number that day was like $5,000. I don't know why. I just thought about it. Well, $5,000, pay me half up front, half when we're done. 5 weeks, we'll get it done. Great, thanks. I'll write you a check, come pick it up. Click. How the fuck do we build a website?
Wow.
No idea. But it's always yes until it's no, and we'll figure it out. Back when I was starting Spartan, I still play, but I played a lot of music growing up. And I learned, as I'm learning how to build this website, that it's a creative way to showcase somebody's business while also getting your creative juices flowing. And when they're done, they make money with it because it's a new brochure for their business. So I just fell in love with that process. And I started what is now called Spartan Digital in 2016, just building websites. That was great. It's a lot of fun. I personally loved it. It's that time in business when it's just yourself and you're running everything out of the bank account and you're doing it not the way you're supposed to be doing it. But as we got more clients, our needs grew and those questions turned into more yeses for things that Dave then learned how to do. When the website's built, who's going to manage it? Who's going to host it? What's this email thing? What's this SEO thing? How do I rank on Google? Do you do logos? Do you run paid advertising? Do you do social media? And as I kept saying yes to more things, my two hands got a little more tied. We continued to grow. So we started making some hires, learn that, the good and the bad of all that fun stuff.
Yep.
And now we're blessed to have, almost a decade later, got about 15 humans. Everybody here is local, the South Jersey, Philly metro. And we do websites and marketing that don't suck. It's a simple mission.
I love it. I love it. So that's the big thing there, right? Websites and marketing is the key of what you guys are bringing for your clients. So I would really love to get into the nuts and bolts of that with you here, Dave. If you can walk us through as far as how you're generating revenue today. So the core offer, I know you do some SEO strategies, custom website design. Those are the big pieces there. But if you could really walk us through your core offerings, how it's structured for your clients, and who is your ideal client that you do like to work with on these offerings?
Yeah, so there's two. Under 5 million in revenue, there's a couple options. Sorry, I'll back up. Our typical industries that we're servicing now are home services, plumbers, HVAC, roofers, contractors, disaster recovery, those sorts of niches. And then professional B2B services, software, SaaS, doctors, architects, lawyers, engineers. Typically, if they're under 5 million in revenue, Jay, they might have a marketing department or they might not. So we're either coming in and doing a project, which is build the website, run the ad, do the thing, or we're their agency of record, which basically means we are their marketing department. We make all the flyers, we make all the logos, we make all the brands, and we run all the ads. And our production there is to get them as quickly as we can to over 5 million in revenue by driving their ROI up as high as possible. Second part is once they hit that point, they then need an agency to help, most likely, their internal marketing people with the stuff that they're not physically good at. So if they're not technical SEO experts, bringing in hired guns like us on a retainer or a project basis to fix all those problems for them. And most of the time, we're actually writing ourselves out of a job because we're training the trainer. In our industry, my vision is to make it a little more education-based and not so reliant on people like us 24/7 for the rest of your business's life. However much I would love that. But once a company gets to a certain size, they really just need us for putting out fires. So that's the two buckets that we're in from that perspective.
Love it. I love it. So with that, obviously, when you're thinking about scale, I mean, you've seen so much success for the past 10 years here. When you're thinking about continuing to scale Spartan Digital moving forward, what's the mindset there? And which one of your offerings are you seeing is really productized to get that scale that you're looking to achieve?
For us right now, it's actually more the agency of record stuff. When a client says, hey, listen, I run a elevator company, right? I'm really good at installing elevators, but I'm not good at the marketing stuff. So just do your job. I'll do my job. And it's a pretty good relationship. That zero to business thing, typically the client is coming to us when they've had a bad experience with an agency, or they've been robbed or pillaged, or people are spending money and they don't know where it's going. So it's that transparency arm that we're coming in saying, hey, most of the time we're asking for more money, which is not how you do that. Right. But it's coming with that growth mindset on the other side of it, saying, listen, this is actually how you're supposed to do this. And this is what results we will achieve once you put this money into the machine.
Incredible. Incredible. So with that being said, obviously you have a nice array of services that you're providing. It can really help out a wide range of clientele on that front. What's working best for you today on the acquisition side of things, Dave? Whether that is specific channels that you see working best, and do you have a lever that you can pull for that predictability on the lead generation side of things?
That's a great question to ask a company that does it for a lot of people.
Yep.
It's hard in our space, really hard in our physical space.
Yeah.
Because we have so many clients that we can acquire.
Yeah.
So for us, it's sticking, and this is a personal thing that I'm working on with myself, sticking in our niches that we know statistically will produce a certain amount of return and just doubling down in them. Not the biggest fan of cold stuff. I know it works. We do some cold outreach, but I'm more of a relationship driven person. So it's, for us, it's strategic business alliances with those centers of influence that will continuously lead us clients. And referrals don't happen by accident. We have a whole strategy that's behind keeping them on a consistent basis.
Love it. I love it. So with that there, obviously you guys are helping out all of your clients around the SEO ads and that. Is that something that you're utilizing internally as well, around doing ads, pushing that out to again have more predictability and be able to scale more efficiently on that front?
Yeah, the problem is with our industry, without too much technical detail, it's everybody's doing it because everybody does it for other people. If you really niche it down the right way, yes, it will work. But I'd rather spend that money on experiential based marketing and really honing in on those niches, sponsoring conventions, trade shows, the stuff that digital companies don't have to do, because that's where we actually win, because we do it.
I absolutely love that. So with that being said, I know that you mentioned a bit earlier, Dave, that you guys have about 15 people on the team right now. So what does that look like as far as a sales process? You have salespeople now, marketing team. What does that team environment look like for you for that continued success and scale on that sales process side?
Everybody on Spartan is a salesperson because you never know what that client's going to say in a meeting. But from a direct outbound perspective, I'm driving it all founder-led sales, and that next process for us over the next 2 to 3 years is hiring that sales team and building them out.
So
While
that's
keeping
really,
that personal touch.
so that's the main focus now is really just with this growth is bringing on a dedicated sales team, some A player setters, closers to get you more again in that founder role, not doing so much of the sales side and keeping that growth and scale to being as effective as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And our operations is so efficient, so tight. That's what I spend a lot of time building so that I can just sell.
I love it. I absolutely love that. With that being said, obviously it sounds like that's a slight bottleneck is really being able to really bring on a dedicated sales team now. But what would you really point to as a bottleneck that you're thinking about right now, Dave, around that continued growth, scale, and success that you want to achieve?
That's a great question. When you want to ramp up sales all the time, and then you always forget about operations.
Yeah.
So it's making sure that, listen, sales are great. And sometimes sales is easier than ops. Sometimes ops is easier than sales. But it's making sure that everything that you physically say on that phone is something that you know will get delivered and was 100% true and accurate every time for each client experience. So that bottleneck of going back and forth in between that is the real, in the service-based business that we're in, we're not launching rockets. We're doing the same stuff for a lot of different clients all over the East Coast. Yeah. It's just got to work every time. There's really no room for error when it comes to what we do.
Absolutely love that. And I think the biggest factor there is knowing, okay, here's where we can really excel, right? This is where we're going to focus our attention on to provide as high quality service as possible. Paint us the picture then. Obviously, you've seen success for the past 10 years. You have a really good plan here, still working to continue to grow and scale. What does the rest of this year look like for Spartan Digital with that growth and scale in mind? And how are you planning to really take effect for the rest of the year for that success?
Goes into probably no more hires this year, knock on wood. We don't need them yet, but all of our events are planned out. We have the right growth mindset applied. The sales strategies back to the numbers. And if everything stays where it's supposed to be, we'll hit our own goals. It's just separating that mental from a founder-led company in that business sitting in the passenger seat of the and just feeding it as much as humanly possible. So we stick on where we're at. We continue making progress. We'll hit where we need to be.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Hypothetically speaking here, Dave, if you had the opportunity to snap your fingers and be provided with unlimited resources at your fingertips right now, what do you think is something that you're implementing immediately into Spartan Digital's growth?
For us, it's either growth by acquisition. So, hey, buy 15 other agencies and merge them all into one with one trademarked process to service those clients. And then operations and efficiencies all the time, researching how quickly and how efficiently we can build a software that takes our time down from a client serviceability perspective.
Love it. Absolutely. So on that same front, I would love to hear from you as far as your mindset and clear as day with the intelligence, the drive that you have. How do you see the digital marketing industry evolving in the coming years here, Dave, especially with your results-driven approach and the success that you've seen over the past 10 years? Where do you see it going in the coming years, and how are you really positioning Spartan Digital to take advantage of that evolution?
Well, a good pivot for that question that everybody typically asks us as a marketing firm is, why do I need you when we have AI, right? It's typically the question that we get a lot from more of a creative standpoint. But
right.
What I like to answer with the innovation stuff is we are not launching rocket ships, right? We're doing a lot of the same stuff really well for different industries. And all the tools that we have access to at our fingertips is almost a little bit of information overload from a customer facing perspective. I love Alex Hormozy. He said the amount of change of jumping around to too many things is what's going to really kill an actual business, because you've made too many changes to actually test something for a good year and just try it. And that's what I think more people need to slow their brain down from a constant change environment. Yes, I love change. It works really well. But the actual measurement of that needs to be given a bit more slack than what some people are allowing it to be, which they believe that this AI and all the normal stuff is the instant gratification that all of our dopamine fed brains need.
Yep.
And sometimes it's just not worth it.
Absolutely.
Very great force multiplier, though.
Yeah.
Amazing tool, should be used by every human possible if you can use it legally. But yeah, you just got to be careful to not let that cloud your thoughts of how the rest of the world still works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest piece there, right? It is really utilizing it to make things more efficient, but not letting it, as you mentioned, cloud, what the real purpose is there. I love that. A huge piece for our listeners there as well. So with that, Dave, I want to take us into the lightning round here. Just a couple more questions for you before we do wrap up the show. And on this side, I would love to hear a tool or a resource that you're utilizing right now. Maybe it's a digital marketing strategy or a leadership insight or an AI tool that you're using, but what's really been the biggest game changer for Spartan Digital this far?
New one we just implemented. It's a great tool. It's called Searchlight, and it basically helps you figure out what your true return on investment is from investing ads into a company like ours.
Incredible. Searchlight was the name of that?
Yep.
I love it. All right. Love that. And then last.
Not paid to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Last but certainly not least here, before we wrap up the show, I would love to hear a piece of advice from you, Dave, that you can offer to our listeners tuning in, just heard your incredible journey and your successes so far. What can you leave them with before we do wrap up the show today?
Find people who have more money than you and be genuinely interested in their success. And basically build your own personal board of directors like you're a nonprofit.
Incredible.
So if you need help, you can call them.
I love it. I love that. Definitely take that into consideration, ladies and gentlemen. And with that right there, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. And David, I just want to thank you so much again for coming on the show, sharing that incredible journey and your insights with us. And as I mentioned, clear as day with your drive, your motivation, the intelligence, the success you've seen so far, you're going to continue to achieve new heights. And it was truly an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And also check out Spartan Digital Solutions at spartandigital.com to learn more about their SEO and web design services. And also follow David on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/David Kryszczak. For more resources and insights, you can visit us here at closers.io, where we are dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.